Today, we will talk about top 10 most dangerous countries in Africa. Africa, a vast continent filled with rich cultures, history, and diverse landscapes, is also home to regions that face significant challenges in terms of safety and security. Conflicts, political instability, economic struggles, and extremist activities have made some countries in Africa particularly dangerous to live in or visit. While there are many peaceful and stable regions, these dangerous countries often make headlines due to ongoing violence and unrest. This video will explore the top 10 most dangerous countries in Africa, shedding light on the factors contributing to their perilous status. 10. South Sudan. South Sudan, the world's youngest country, has experienced years of internal conflict and instability, which have contributed to its dangerous status. Since gaining independence from Sudan in 2011, South Sudan has been ravaged by civil war, ethnic violence, and political turmoil. The conflict between government forces and opposition groups has displaced millions and resulted in widespread atrocities. While a peace agreement was signed in 2013, the country remains volatile, with ongoing clashes and the presence of numerous armed groups. 9. Somalia. Somalia has faced instability for decades, with a history of civil war, terrorism, and lawlessness. The central government has struggled to maintain control over much of the country, and armed militant groups like Al-Shabaab have created a constant state of insecurity. Al-Shabaab's frequent attacks on military, governmental, and civilian targets, including bombings, assassinations, and kidnappings, make parts of Somalia dangerous for both locals and foreigners. The country's lack of a stable government, widespread poverty, and absence of effective law enforcement contribute to its high levels of violence and risk. 8. Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC. The DRC is rich in natural resources, but has been plagued by violent conflicts and instability for much of its history. Armed rebel groups, including the Allied Democratic Forces, ADF, and M23, operate throughout the eastern region of the country, leading to deadly clashes, displacement, and civilian suffering. The DRC's complex political environment, combined with its vast, rugged terrain and weak state presence in many areas, makes it a breeding ground for violence. The country faces issues of ethnic strife, militia activities, and the exploitation of its resources by corrupt actors. 7. Central African Republic, CAR. The Central African Republic has endured years of violence, with a number of rebel groups fighting for control of the country. Following a coup in 2013, sectarian violence erupted between Christian and Muslim militias, exacerbating the conflict. Despite the presence of international peacekeepers, armed groups continue to operate freely, particularly in the north and west of the country. Kidnappings, ambushes, and attacks on civilians are frequent occurrences, making travel dangerous in many regions. 6. Nigeria. Nigeria, Africa's most populous country, faces a variety of security challenges. The ongoing insurgency by the Boko Haram group in the northeastern region has destabilized much of the area, with the group conducting regular attacks on military and civilian targets. The situation in the Niger Delta, which is plagued by militancy, oil theft, and violence between local groups and the government, further complicates the nation's security. In addition to these issues, Nigeria suffers from organized crime, kidnapping for ransom, and widespread corruption within the political system. 5. Mali. Mali has been a focal point of instability in West Africa. In 2012, a military coup overthrew the government, and the northern part of the country fell under the control of separatist groups and radical militants, including Al-Qaeda affiliates. Although the French military intervened in 2013 to push back insurgents, Mali remains a hotbed of extremist activity. Armed groups continue to target civilians and government forces, and the country's vast desert regions make it difficult for the government to assert control. The situation is further complicated by regional instability, including the involvement of foreign powers, which makes Mali a dangerous place for both locals and foreigners. 4. Libya. Since the fall of Muammar Gaddafi in 2011, Libya has descended into chaos, with multiple factions vying for control. The country is divided into rival governments and armed militias, each controlling different parts of the nation. The fighting between these factions, often fueled by external powers, has led to widespread destruction and a breakdown of law and order. Terrorist groups, including ISIS, have taken advantage of the instability to establish a foothold in the country. The situation is further worsened by human trafficking and armed smuggling operations, contributing to its reputation as one of the most perilous countries in Africa. 3. Sudan. Sudan has faced multiple waves of violence and instability, exacerbated by civil war and economic collapse. The Darfur region has been at the center of ethnic conflicts, with government-backed militias accused of committing atrocities against civilian populations. Although Sudan saw a transition from Omar al-Bashir's regime to a civilian-led government in 2019, the country remains in a fragile state. Armed rebel groups, economic hardship, and the rise of militia activity continue to contribute to the danger. 2. Cameroon. Cameroon faces significant internal conflict, particularly in the Anglophone regions, where separatist movements have sparked violent clashes between government forces and armed separatists. These conflicts, combined with the country's challenges with Boko Haram in the north, have made Cameroon a very dangerous place. The government's response to the separatist movements has been marked by heavy-handed tactics and widespread human rights violations. This combination of internal conflict and regional terrorism makes Cameroon one of the most dangerous countries in Africa. 1. Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso has rapidly escalated in terms of insecurity in recent years. The country, once considered one of West Africa's more stable nations, has seen a dramatic rise in violence due to insurgencies from jihadist groups, including those affiliated with Al-Qaeda and ISIS. These groups have carried out numerous attacks on civilians, military personnel, and government targets, particularly in the northern and eastern parts of the country. The increasing presence of militant groups and the breakdown of law and order have made Burkina Faso one of the most dangerous countries in Africa in 2025. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comments section below. Also subscribe to our channel before you go. Thanks for watching.